My name is Nikki Zammit and I am the lead Senior Sales Progression Consultant at Redloft. Today I'm going to speak to you about the different affordable home ownership options which may be available to you. We'll cover Help to Buy, equity loan, shared ownership and London Living Rent. Starting with Help to Buy. The Help to Buy equity loan scheme was first introduced in 2013 to assist those looking to buy but who are struggling to save up for a deposit. The scheme assists purchasers because they will only require a minimum deposit of 5% and that deposit is based on the full market value of the property. The government will then loan the purchaser up to 20% of the full market value of the property. That's if you're buying outside of London. If you're buying in London, you can obtain a loan of up to 40%. This means you can then secure a smaller mortgage for the remainder of the property, up to 75% outside of London and up to 55% inside of London. So let's talk money. The loan is available in London for properties up to the value of £600,000, though it should be noted that under the new scheme, which launched on the 1st of April 2021, regional price caps have been introduced. The great thing about Help to Buy equity loan is that the loan is interest-free for 5 years. After the 5 years, you start paying interest on the loan. From year 6, interest will start getting applied to your loan at 1.75%. From year 7, your interest will increase by the Consumer Price Index plus 2% year on year. The loan itself is a second charge against your property. So to you and me, that means the loan is secured against that property. So how do you repay the loan? The loan itself must be repaid in full when you sell your property, when you repay your mortgage in full, or at the end of the loan term. Most people will try and pay as much of that loan off as they can by year 5. Generally, you will secure a 2 to 5 year fixed mortgage rate when you purchase your new home. When the fixed term is coming to an end, you will usually look to remortgage. If your property is increased in value, most people will look to withdraw the equity in the property to pay off some or all of the loan before the interest is applied. The loan can be repaid in tranches of 10% at any one time. The most important thing of all to remember about the loan is that it can go up as well as down. It's based on the current value of the property, so if the property price falls, you'll pay less, but if it increases, you will pay more. Since April 2021, only first-time buyers are eligible to apply for Help to Buy equity loan. The property will be a new build property, and once you've purchased a home, you must not sublet or rent the property out. You need to be at least 18 years old and have a clean credit history. Moving on to shared ownership. Shared ownership is an affordable housing product which was introduced in the 1980s. It's designed to help people on average incomes, but with smaller deposits, step onto that property ladder. It's more affordable because initially you will purchase a share between 25 and 75%, and you then only need to raise the deposit based on the share you are purchasing. For example, if I were to be interested in a home worth £400,000 and I was eligible for a 25% share in the property, I would usually only need to raise a 5 to 10% deposit on the share value of £100,000. That would equate to £5,000 to £10,000. I would then raise a mortgage based on the share I am purchasing less the deposit. So what about the share I don't own? We call the unsold shares in the property the unsold equity, and this equity will continue to be owned by the landlord. You'll be required to pay rent on the unsold equity. As an industry standard, the rent is usually charged at no more than 2.75%. However, in some of the more expensive areas of London, this could be lower to assist with the buyer affordability. What does this look like in reality? We have my property value, which is £400,000, less the share I am purchasing, £100,000. This means my unsold equity is worth £300,000. If we then apply the 2.75% rent against the unsold equity, i.e. £300,000 times 0.0275, we get an annual rent charge of £8,250, which would be £687.50 per calendar month. Your rent will increase annually in line with the retail price index. If the retail price index goes down, your rent will remain the same as the previous financial year. It is important to remember that the more of the property you own, the less rent you pay. In addition to your rent and mortgage, you will usually need to pay a service charge bill and in some circumstances a ground rent. A service charge covers the maintenance and repair of communal areas of your development. It will also cover the building insurance and should include a sinking fund, which is also referred to as a reserved fund. The sinking fund plans for future non-cyclical maintenance of the communal areas which are not covered in your annual service charge, i.e. a major lift repair or redecoration of the common ways, etc. When you move into your shared ownership home, you are responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of the property. We call this a self-repairing lease. This means you're responsible for the annual gas safety check and any other repairs or maintenance to your property. Most developments have a 12-month defect period from the date the development hands over. The handover date is the date of the ownership from the home changes from the contractor who built the development to the landlord. This means if something goes wrong within the first 2 months of handover, and I note I'm saying handover, not the date you move into the property, you can report it as a defect. There are rules which are associated with what is and what isn't classed as a defect. Your home will also be covered by a building warranty, and this is rarely called upon, but will cover structural faults that are caused by faulty workmanship or materials. Okay, so now you've been in your home for a while and you've decided you want to buy more shares. What do? In most circumstances, you can buy shares at any time. We call buying more shares staircasing. When you are ready to staircase, you simply advise your landlord in writing and arrange a valuation of the property, provide evidence to your landlord that you can afford to buy more shares in your home. This will be done for a mortgage advisor and instruct a solicitor. Once you staircase, your rent will be adjusted accordingly. If you decide you want to sell your property, again, you advise your landlord in writing, arrange a valuation, and usually allow your landlord around 8 weeks to try and find you a buyer. There will be a charge for the landlord if the landlord finds you a buyer, which can usually be anything from 1% of the share value up to 1.5% of the full market value. Finally, to be eligible for shared ownership, you must be at least 18 years old, unable to purchase a home suitable for your needs on the open market, have a clean credit history, not own a home, and if you're in the process of selling a home, please speak to us about your needs. And in some areas, there may be a local connection requirement too, but this will be displayed clearly on any marketing. And finally, London Living Rent. London Living Rent was introduced by London's Mayor in 2017. The scheme is designed to provide genuinely affordable homes for middle income earners across the capital. The scheme works by charging a lower than average rent. The money customers save on rent should be put into savings for a deposit to later purchase a home through shared ownership or outright sale. Rents are established by ward and are based on 1/3 of average local household incomes. Most London Living Rent properties are based on a 3 to 10 year tenancy. Tenancies are awarded on a assured short hold basis. Within the 10-year tenancy term, you are encouraged by your landlord to save for a deposit. You will likely to be asked to have regular financial interviews with independent mortgage advisors to demonstrate you are taking steps to home ownership. The most important thing to remember with London Living Rent is that if you do not purchase at the end of the 10-year term, your tenancy will end and you will likely need to begin renting privately once more. As you can imagine, London Living Rent is an extremely popular product. To be eligible, you must be renting in London currently and have a maximum household income of £60,000. You must be unable to currently purchase through shared ownership or other means in your local area. You must be 18 years old and have a clean credit history and be financially eligible for the property. Due to the popularity of the scheme, priority will often be awarded to those with the strongest local connection to the borough. A number of documents will be collected from you when you apply for the property to ensure that you are eligible for the property. As part of the eligibility process, you will undergo a referencing check-in by an independent referencing company. So in summary, if you have a larger deposit of at least 5% of the property value, it is likely that the Help to Buy scheme will be a good avenue for you to explore. If you have a slightly lower deposit, which is preventing you from getting onto the property ladder, shared ownership could be a good choice for you. I hope you have found the information useful, and if you have any more questions or would like to speak to a member of our sales team, please do give us a call on 0207 539 3745, or you can email us at sales@redloft.co.uk. You can view the properties as we currently have available at redloftproperty.co.uk.